This year, Horsepower Wars goes international. Team Enemies Everywhere traveled all the way from Australia to compete in the $10,000 Drag Shootout. With the 10K Olympics finished, the Thunder from Down Under started their build with a fourth-generation Chevy Camaro.
We got the Gen 4 Camaro, which we're quite excited about, and it's everyone, you hear all the talk about how hard they are to build. We're not finding that hard. It's just a little bit slower fitting the engine, but the rest of the car is quite easy.
It has the potential to be a super fast car. There is just so much work. The engine's so far deep in the car itself, so it's hard to work on, hard to get the engine out, like all that sort of stuff.
Enemies Everywhere decided they wanted an LS turbo build with a little more displacement than the other two LS-powered cars in the competition. They started with a stock 6-liter LS block and crankshaft, a set of forged Molle 4030 pistons, Eagle connecting rods, ARP head and main studs, and L19 rod bolts to make sure the engine is capable of spinning high RPMs.
Mate, they make pretty good power, you know. It's got a few more cubes on the 5.3 and the 4.8 especially.
Fragola provided all the team's lines and fittings. Their black steel braided lines were utilized for all their fluids, and the anodized aluminum fittings kept the weight down. For the top end of the Australian's engine, they hand-ported a set of LS3 rectangle port heads, utilized factory hollow-stemmed valves, TFS valve springs, Lunati push rods, and a custom comp cam with enough lift and duration to help this 360-plus cubic inch engine breathe as easily as possible.
The guys from Comp Cam's have been awesome, and they gave us their latest development loads. It's 638 lift, 251, 260, 117 centres. They say we can run it easily over up around 8,500.
With a cast wheel 80mm Borg-Warner turbo, a precision wastegate welded right onto the turbo's exhaust housing, and a custom-made bumper exit aluminum exhaust system built with piping from Spectre, Enemies Everywhere's 4th gen is set up to make a lot of horsepower. Enemies cut almost 2 feet out of the front of their Camaro to mount their turbo and radiator. With the PRW aluminum radiator and electric water pump in their car, it'll keep their LS engine cool. Really cool. In the drivetrain department, the Australians built their own Turbo 400 automatic transmission with a trans brake and internal shipped directly from Summit, and a used Trans Specialties torque converter set up for boost. Mosier supplied axles, C-clip eliminators, and rear aluminum covers with bearing supports to keep their 8.8 rear end stout and ready to take on the track at South Georgia Motorsports Park.
Chosen a 411 gear purely just because it's 8th mile. Not gonna rev it too hard because since it is a 6-litre, still be up over 7,000. She should run out of legs about 800 feet hopefully.
Enemies Everywhere is the only team not using a 4-link. Rather than trying to dial in the factory torque arm suspension with limited runs, the team decided to fabricate a custom ladder bar setup in the rear of their Camaro. With single adjustable QA1 shocks in the rear, they'll be able to dial the car in easily at the track.
We decided to go ladder bar rather than the standard torque arm. Basically 2 triangles welded to the diff to make a swing arm, so you've only got 1 point of lift effectively. So it's a very basic suspension design that works really, really well.
And with a U set of Speedway wheels, custom-made double bead locks, aerospace front brakes, and hot brake pads on the rear, this car will have no problem putting the power to the ground and stopping at the end of the track. The team attempted to dyno their Camaro twice, but fell short due to their transmission problems. So a peak horsepower number of the Turbo Roo is still unknown. Enemies Everywhere spent a total of $9,952.07 out of their $10,000 budget.
We've built the combination to win it. We've all got 80mm turbos, and you've got the people go, the 4.8s are the king, the 5.3s are the king. We think the 6-litre is the go. And come Georgia, we're all going to find out who's right and who's wrong, and we'll all be smarter because of it.
With just 10 days to buy and build a drag car, Enemies Everywhere put their heads down and got to work. The finished product is impressive, to say the least. Their 4th Gen Camaro is both unique and powerful. And with everything dialed in, there's no doubt it can make some killer passes once this car and the team make it to South Georgia Motorsports Park.